Good morning and welcome to Monday Motivation at the CAM. I am James Triplett, and this is a special edition of Kingdom Assignment because I've got a special person with me today, and I am so glad to have her. I've known her over the years, and one of the things that I'm excited about in this interview is that this person that you're going to get to know is a person of resilience. You're going to be inspired, you're going to be motivated, because she has a story to tell. And so I want you to join me this morning as we welcome Abigail Navarro McDowell to Kingdom Assignment Ministries. So Abigail, thank you.
Hello.
It's good to be here. It's good to see you. And like I said, one of the reasons why I wanted to interview you because you have a story, and you've been kind of telling it in pieces. But I want people to truly understand the story. And one of the things that I wanted to ask you right out the bat is tell us a little bit about Michael and your marriage and the type of cancer that he had.
Ooh. Dang, you went there, huh? You make me cry first thing.
Well, you know, I can't even have a little house on the prairie, so I'm probably gonna cry too.
So Michael and I got married 2007, and we were, best friends. And one of the things Michael showed me is, in all the relationships I had, is he was the first man that actually showed me that I'm worthy.
Wow.
Like, no matter what, I just remember thinking, my gosh, like, I could just put out all my flaws, and he was very accepting and very gentle. And I just remember thinking, you know what? And he makes my soul feel easy, and I could be myself.
Right.
And so that was the type of man
That he was.
And in hindsight, I didn't realize how much growing that I still had to do from there, but that'll come later on. So
Right.
going back to the type of cancer, he had glioblastoma.
Okay.
So it is like the deadliest cancer there is. Pretty much every single person that gets that diagnosis, it's already stage 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember them telling me or reading about it, and they said maybe a 2% chance of survival.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, me, I was like, okay, there's a chance, right? It's like that movie Dumb and Dumber. It's like, so you're telling me there's a chance,
Right.
okay. But it was really tough, and how we found out was actually was sitting in. She had jiu-jitsu every Saturday, and I kept getting this call from my stepson. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, what is happening? But I kept ignoring it, and he said, oh, they rushed Dad to the emergency because someone had found him on the side of the road having a seizure. And so, like, I didn't know what that meant. If I didn't even think that maybe that's cancer, I was like,
Right.
oh man, maybe it's a stroke. And I was worried, and that at that time, I did not want Madeline to know, because just 6 months before that, we had an emergency flight from Japan because her grandmother had passed away and drowned. So it's like one, and here's another
Right.
potential emergency flight. And so we flew home, and May 5th, everybody loves Cinco de Mayo. I hate it.
Yeah.
Because that was the day. And went to the emergency room. It was the most stressful thing, and they did all the tests, and then on Madeline's birthday. But we make sure now this, we always do fun things on her
Right.
birthday, is when we were all there, and the doctor just said what it was. It's glioblastoma, and he has less than a year to live.
Right.
I just remember asking questions and all these, like, it didn't register, and finally, I swear, James, I could really kick that man's.
No.
He was not nice. That surgeon, he was supposed to be the best.
Right.
And he flat out told me, well, don't you understand, he has less than a year to live. He can't live through this.
Wow.
And my daughter was there. She was, I don't know, how old were you, sweetie, at that time?
9.
She was 9 years
I
old.
was 9 years old.
Yes. And that's how it started. And it was, we tried our best. And I took care of him.
Yeah, I know you did a lot of things. There were things that you were posting and you were saying, letting people know the different type of things you were trying. Can you talk a little bit about those?
Yes, just because out of desperation, and to be honest, that's how I deal with stress, is
Right.
action. And I couldn't tolerate the discomfort.
Right.
And I just really wanted him to stay, because I was like, well, maybe there's a chance. And so I did everything. We had genetic testing. We did a lot of, saw a naturopath. One of the naturopaths I'm still really good friends with. High dose vitamin C, a lot of supplementation. I actually found an herbalist that was an expert at that. I mean, she has a lot of clients that actually survived past 5 years. So,
Right.
but ultimately, and I didn't know this in the beginning, Michael, even within that category, probably had the worst markers there is. I didn't know past 6 months, but I read a study, you couldn't operate it, and it was a type, it's called unmethylated. It was a type of, that cancer also didn't respond well to anything. So most of them only lived less than 6 months.
Wow.
But he lived 15 months, and that was the average.
In him living those 15 months, and I know it's not something that was easy,
It was
period. Because I know Mike, and I'm getting a little teary-eyed because he always treated me nice. You know, I mean, it was just, he didn't really know me, but he never said anything that would have offended me. It was always a smile that he had, and he was always like, so in those 15 months, how was his mind? Was he laughing? Was there any moments where he had fun time? Or
He did. I think what was really rough with brain cancer is slowly I watched him change. And because it's affecting the mind, the man that I knew slowly started disappearing. And it was, his fuse was really short. The medicine, which was high dose steroids, really gave him, when, you've heard the term roid rage, like really like his fuse. And it was tough. It was really hard, but I knew we were in borrowed time, and I was going to support him no matter what. I supported what I could in really finding ways to extend his life, but in those moments that he was like that, I just really took it, and I cried every day.
let me ask you, what a typical day? How are you encouraging yourself? I mean, meditation, talking to family members.
It was just duty. It became a duty. When they talk about your vows and, make a bid, and I just knew that I was what gave him peace and hope, and I was gonna do my best in everything that I do. And so I did the medication, did the appointments, and I took care of him. I mean, he got crippled like within, May, around September is when he lost his mobility. And so then it became like he was in a wheelchair. So as you can imagine, everything from going to the bathroom, bathing, I did it all.
Were there times when you said to God, why me? Why my family? Why my husband?
Yeah, all the time. I just ask like, what did I do before to have asked for this? Like, why me? Why? And so actually, there was a lot of times why my daughter.
Yeah.
Like, I always felt like I could, withstand suffering, but I couldn't stand watching my daughter suffer. Because I essentially put her on hold and asked other people to take care of her because I just didn't have the bandwidth.
Right.
I did.
Right.
I did.
Right.
I just didn't have time.
Yeah.
I couldn't. We were either always in appointments, or I was taking care of his medicine, or I was like, he was in a strict diet, so I was always fixing that. And
Right.
the next thing you know, it's lunch, and next thing you know, it's appointments, and it's like almost 2 or 3 times a week he had something.
Right. And so there was at some point you ended up leaving your job, the PSNS. So was that during the same time? Was that decision made because of what was transpiring?
Well, what happened when we did the emergency move? Before that, we were already supposed to come back in August.
Right, from Japan.
From Japan, and I took a job at Keyport.
Right.
And I remember making that decision to come back to Keyport because I wanted a position that was going to be flexible, because I knew Michael was going to go back in the shipyard. He was going to be busy, and we always had a deal that one of us will always be the one of us will always have the flexible job.
Right.
Because we both can't have
Right.
a job that's like demanding.
Yeah.
We're not doing that to Matt.
Go.
No,
No family
there's
time.
always going to be a parent
Yes.
that's solid.
Right.
He was that father when he was in Japan. I had the busy, crazy job, and then he played more of that role of stability for Madeline, which is a blessing.
Right. One of the things I want to ask you is, what was it? I mean, you've kind of described a little bit about how he made you feel. What is something that he would say that just would make you, give me some catchwords that he would say to you that just would make you, fall in love all over again with him?
Every day he told me I was beautiful.
Wow.
I know, every day.
That's a lesson I need to learn.
And just sugar babe,
Yeah.
things like that. Or he'd just say like, I always appreciate that he's, recognize my intelligence.
Right.
Like I've had other relationships in the past. I felt like I was competing,
Right.
and I'm like, I'm not interested in competing with my
Did-
spouse.
did-
He was so respectful.
Did you ever play hard to get with him? Because sometimes us women, they try to play hard to get with the guy, act like they don't really want to get chased.
No,
You know?
no.
So you're like, I like this guy, he's
I
mine.
like this guy, no, but I was not. Actually, when I first met him, I was not in a position to be in a relationship.
Oh, okay.
And I actually was like, I can't do this.
Right.
And I think it was like about a year and a half or longer
Right.
before I was just like, well, if it's gonna be, it's gonna be.
Right.
And that's how it was. It wasn't, I guess that's playing hard to get. I was just not in a mental,
Right,
I was
right.
not, and I had so
Right.
much respect for him, and, when he had Ryan, I was not, I'm not like that anyways. I don't like dating.
So the other thing I wanted to ask you too is so you go through this process and like you explained, you're taking care of your husband. It's really turned into something that's 24 hours, 7 days.
Yes, yeah.
He finally passes, and then what is your mental state after that part? Are you like just
I didn't care if I died.
wow?
That was how I felt for the first couple months, because it hurt so bad.
Right.
It just hurt so bad. And you were like, had this guilt because you had relief because it was so hard. It was so hard. Every day it was so, I can't even explain it. It's
Right.
like every morsel I felt like I was measuring because I felt like everything I was giving him was either going to extend or shorten his life.
Gotcha.
And so, and this, like I said, his mental state started changing to a point that it was very stressful. He was short fuse.
Right.
And, but I knew it wasn't him, and so watching that just go down, but like you could see in his eyes that like he didn't mean it.
Right.
So like the suffering was just so much that there was relief when it ended, but then there was also guilt that they're gone.
Right.
And so I would say probably for like maybe 3 months, I got up because I had Madeline. I'm very grateful that I have Madeline, and that's really what drove me to, pick myself up.
Right.
But to be honest, I don't know. Like, it probably would have taken longer if I didn't have Madeline and my pets.
Right.
Madeline.
So, for someone who might end up having to deal with this, what kind of support? Because it sounds like you had Madeline, but what other kind of support would you advise someone trying to have?
Just, luckily this is just how my brain works. I just knew, and just watching from, reading about things, that I was like, yeah, I'm gonna need help. I don't wanna do this by myself. And the last 2 weeks, I just couldn't do it anymore. We moved to my mom and dad's, and they helped me. And Michael didn't want to go to hospice, but my mom, she had a home care, so she knew how to do that, and she has taken care of elderly until some of them till they passed. And then my older sister, she flew for a couple weeks to help me just really nurse Michael, like just give comfort. It was like that because he just was like, no, he never said I'm done, never.
Wow.
He was never.
So there was a fight.
There was a fight all the way, and I was gonna fight with him, and so that's what I did, and and it was, that's how I got support. And I just remember, like, I'm not coming back here because I barely had anything. And so my parents did the motherly things, right? Like the cooking. My dad, took her to school, and my sister was just 2 blocks away. It was what we needed. It would have been too long.
So family is extremely important.
Very important. And I realized that me doing that, it was also helping them grieve because they felt so helpless. They couldn't help me in that taking care of Michael. And I was finally, it's like, I just want help, and I never asked for help.
Right.
Never.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm gonna ask for help.
Yeah. And so one of the things that I've known about you from the projects that we worked on and the roles that you played,
Yes.
I've always known you to be a leader.
Yeah.
And whether it was directly or indirectly, you can tell that person that has that it. And I knew you had that it factor. Although we didn't know each other as close as we do now, but you're small in stature. But when you came into those rooms, people knew Abigail is in the room. And so that strength that I saw and the things that we're talking about, where did faith play a role into that, or power of God? Where did that come into play for you?
I knew that, as far as leadership, I made decisions. There was just things that I just did, and that's like, I don't have time for this. I made decisions, and knowing when to ask for help, that was something, even though I learned, very quickly just how to delegate. But to be honest, there were times like Michael didn't want help from anybody else but me. So I relied on Madeline a lot, and she was like only, by that time 10. And so she did a lot of things. She took care of herself. And so it's like we just have to work together as a team. And so it became that, and relied on my stepson and good friends to the delegation. And I felt so guilty delegating my mom duties, but I had really good trusted friends that took care of her. Picked her up, took her to her games, did all the things. I think maybe the only thing I did was feed her and give her a kiss. But I was not present for a year and a half. It was hard.
And did faith play a role in all of this for you?
I prayed every day just to give me strength. And I got mad several times because like when I was in the 7th grade, like I suffered a lot too because I had lupus and I was actually had a lot of suffering physically and just the things how that impacted me was starting. I just remember praying every day and Philippians 4:13 was like my favorite. It was like all over.
Right.
I just prayed every day and every day I just asked for strength, just like one more day, just one more day.
Right.
Pray, for anything like hope and you're just looking for signs, just ask prayers from everybody. I had no shame.
Yeah.
I had no shame. I was like, please send me anything because it was so hard.
Yeah, I imagine.
I just don't even know how to explain the pain.
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking that it had a purpose. I was just trying to survive.
Yeah, and one of the things you've been very honest and candid because I did watch the video where you were just looked like you were in your bed.
Yeah.
And you were doing a lot of crying. So is that also still a part of your healing process to where it's like you're like, look, this is what's happening today. I don't care how people perceive how I'm looking.
Yeah.
I'm not all made up, I'm not all doing up.
No.
So is that a part of how you still process things?
Yeah, and just let a good cry out. Let the emotions flow through you. I mean, that was probably one of the things that I had to make sure, I did. In the shower, every day, I cried. I probably cried for maybe 2.5 years straight.
Wow.
A little cry.
Yeah.
Just, in disbelief. And then, when I got mad, then I'd cry and get mad because people said, well, God will never give you something that you can't handle. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to hear that right now. That is not what I need to hear.
Right.
No. And you will soon know why, it's just there. And I just remember in that grief, I got really mad at God. I probably didn't talk to him for a year. Because I just remember please, I am done.
Right.
I'm done you making me strong.
Yeah.
I was like, I have suffered enough. From just, like I said, from my sickness, from my pregnancy with Madeline, really bad relationships, prior to Michael. I have suffered enough from 7th grade till this time.
Right.
Granted, there are some goodness in there,
Correct.
but
Yeah.
there's
Right.
I could tell you distinctly of cycles. I'm like, man.
Yeah. If there's a break in here, can I get a break?
Can I please? No more. Stop making me strong. I think I'm strong enough. And I just remember that, and I was mad. I was mad for doing that to me. I was mad to watch watching other people suffer was the worst for me, more than my own suffering.
Right.
I felt like I could withstand it, and watching Madeline go through losing her dad and all the heartaches and broken, broken promises in a way.
Yeah.
Because you can't do all those things.
I'm glad you're being candid and just totally raw about it because sometimes as humans and as Christians, a lot of times, there's a scripture in the Bible where it talks about in Romans, all things work together for the good. But then when you don't feel good, you don't see good, you're like, what's good about this?
Yeah.
So do you sense any good that has come?
Oh, absolutely now, but I just had to really sit within and just dig deep, it's just one of those, I just got to get through this day and through this day. And then I got rid of a lot of noise. I realized what I used to do is keep myself busy.
Right.
So I didn't have to deal with it. And I just remember somebody saying to me, I don't remember which friend it was, that it's okay not to be. And so I had to really sit with it. And I didn't understand when people used to say sit with it.
Right.
It's really sitting with my emotions and just in silence. And I found eventually just the beauty in the mundane. Even with Michael, the beauty in the little miracles.
Right.
And I spent probably, from it was slowly just getting better. And then I stopped doing things that were disruptive. I stopped drinking. That was one. And like I said, I'm pretty sure I always told everybody that I only got to have one daughter.
Right.
Because God blessed me with the most perfect angel.
Yeah.
Because she was the reason why I did a lot of things. I will tell you, I did not do it for me.
Right.
I did not.
Oh, I believe. I totally believe.
I did not. And so when people could dig deep, and because they don't have like a daughter or somebody to inspire them, that is awesome. Like, I don't even know how you did that.
Right.
But she motivated me. The reason why I got therapy was like because I was taking it out on her. And after I made sure she went into therapy first because I felt like that. So she got better. She had trauma, PTSD, like all that stuff from everything. I couldn't leave her for an hour. So like she and I had to heal together.
Right.
But I had to do my duty as a mother and make sure she was okay.
Right.
And then as she was starting to be okay, I was like, oh my God, I'm so mean. I'm so mean. I started taking it out of her and my stepson.
You started seeing things within you,
I was just like, oh, I didn't realize how angry I was. And so I finally got help. And then even that took a while. And I did other things, I didn't do just talk therapy. Kind of like how I handled Michael's, cancer. I just didn't prescribe to what was given to me because I'm like, this isn't very effective.
Right.
So I just tried other.
That's a good segue into where I think I want to ask you this next question, because we're talking about a person who is resilient, who embodies resilience.
Yes.
So when did you know that the bounce back was starting to happen, and what was your mindset when you knew, out of all the hell that I've dealt with, I feel a bounce back? So.
I would say so. Maybe not 2020. I would say maybe like 2021. We started doing things again that was fun. Like, let me see. With 2020, we started traveling again because there was a lot of things I lost passion for. But it was slowly starting to like enjoy life again, with myself. And then I actually, James, I said to myself, I will never, ever, 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 like, want to be in a relationship again, because the suffering was so hard. Like, I don't want to go through that again.
Is that your mindset now?
No, it's not.
Changing.
Yeah. It was, I think for me, the sign of healing is when I got curious. It's funny, because I was like, oh, well, I wonder if men still find me attractive. Because I've been at home, like, cooped up in 2020, and so I did that. Like, I kind of just did that. And so, but what I realized when I did that, though, that was a trigger for me, that perhaps, like, I'm still young.
Right.
And, I had friends I just remember, like, they asked so early on, though, they're like, you think you'd get married again? I'm like, dude, it's only 2020. It's not even been a year since my late husband passed. Don't ask me that, But, like, there's some friends that I think they could tell that I was just, that suffering was so deep that I was very traumatized. Like, I was even like, no, I'm just going to be an old maid. I'm fine.
So, having said that, it sounds like you are open. Is that a conversation you would have with Madeline?
Oh, yeah.
Because
we talked through that, and she understands. And I think, what dawned on me, I was like, oh my gosh. Because at first she and I was like, we could just be together forever. Mom and daughter. And we still can be.
Right.
And then she's so sweet. She was like, Mom, I'll take care of you. I'll build a house. I'm going to have a huge house. And I'm going to build a beautiful home in the back. And you'll never be lonely. And I was like, you're going to have a family. I think I'm going to want some companionship. But so that actually took over 2 years to even have that shift.
For sure.
About that.
But not to dig deep into this, but Mike had a good footprint. It would be hard. Would you be looking for a lot of characteristics and signs, similar things
I had a lot of
in
healing.
a potential person?
I had a lot of healing from, I'm gonna say, not just from the grief from Michael. So in the process of me doing meditation and doing this modality called Body Mind Bridge, and other modalities, I had uncovered a lot of really wounding from just all the way from your childhood.
Yeah.
Because I started remembering things.
The ACEs, adverse childhood experiences type
Just
stuff. Yeah.
that, or just even like really awful, like relationships in your younger years. And I would say, like, yes, there's some things absolutely within the relationship with Michael, but I think there's more now because I have grown.
Right.
And it's a very tall order. But I
And
know,
well, it should be.
and I believe God will provide.
Yeah.
Just because I'm a good person. Like, why would I deserve that?
Right.
Like, why not?
No, I hear you.
Why not me? Right.
So as we continue to talk about the bounce back and the resilient person that you are involved in a lot of projects now.
Yeah.
Because, when I do have time, I catch you saying, hey, just did this, just did that. So talk a little bit about the things that you're involved in now, as far as, because I think you purchased a construction company or something?
Yeah, it's so funny. Well, just going back to that, the theme of resilience, right? Like, you don't even realize you're being resilient. What I remember feeling is I just have to survive, and I don't want to be in this place. It's so awful.
Right.
And I was willing to do what it took to not be here.
Wow.
Right? So I wasn't thinking like, oh, today I'm going to be resilient. It's more like, I really hate this.
Right.
I absolutely cannot stand being in this cesspool of how I felt.
Right.
And so, like true to fashion, I would seek out what worked, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna try this. And then there was a point of like desperation that I tried it because I trusted, I have friends, really good friends that tried different modalities, and I tried it. And so with that same, that theme of like resilience, so like why did I end up purchasing like it's a construction like final cleaning company? So it's just funny. I was watching what's going on. I was like, man, they're printing a lot of money. I was like, I don't know if this stock market's gonna do really good. And I wasn't sure. At that time, I haven't even quit the shipyard yet, or anything. It was like, oh, I think that'd be cool. And I had a friend send me a Twitter and a Twitter thing, and I just remember just following. And I ended up discovering this gal, and I was like, man, that is so brilliant. It was like baby boomers, like 10,000. Yeah, 10,000 baby boomers retire daily, and about 19% of them are small business owners that are profitable, and they end up closing up shop. And I was like, whoa, wait. So you mean you can buy those and cash flow? And so you can have cash flow? And I was like, well, I think I could do that. And I've led a department in construction, production. I think I could do that. But then it took about a year until I found one, and I remember seeing it, and I was like, oh, that's the one. And by that time, I already left the shipyard, and I didn't know, but I figured out a way to reinvest my retirement into purchasing the company.
Oh, wow.
So rather than putting it in,
you use your own funding. Wow.
And part of it is owner finance, so I negotiated with the owner. But I took a class. So that's one thing that I want to be very frank is that I was willing to invest the money in myself to get the help.
Right.
I was fortunate to have that, but it was a decision decision I made, right? Like other people would buy a car or this or that.
Right.
Like I spent money on me for my mind,
Right.
for my health. Like I got checked and all that stuff, and it was a mindset shift, right? Because we were so materialistic.
Yeah, which is really where it all starts and begins,
Yes.
right? The
Well, and I
mindset.
started looking at like some of these really affluent people. I was like, well, they always talk about investing in yourself, okay? Well, maybe that's what I'll do. And so that's what happened. And so I took a course. It's called Unconventional Acquisition, and I learned the process, and I negotiated that.
Wow.
And it's not picking up. It's pretty busy, and since then I brought in a business partner, and then I have that, and we have two large projects currently right now, and then we have 3 more that's just waiting to start.
Oh, wow. So a major upswing for you.
That's
One of the things that I want to ask you as we prepare to wrap it up, for a person who has gone through the things that you've gone through, and dealt with them the way you dealt with them, is there anything moving forward in your life that could shut you down, could shut Abigail down? I mean, I don't think there would be, but I'm just,
Ooh.
asking
I
questions.
know I
to
don't
you.
want to say it.
Mhm.
It's one of those like anything with my daughter obviously would be
Right.
that would be difficult. But at this point, I've just seen so
Right.
it's been so hard. That's why sometimes like you don't realize that like they said it prepared you for things. I've been through the hard,
Right.
and so now when things are hard, I'm just like that's not hard.
Right.
Because my scale and range of difficulty, but just like I said, I don't want to come across like, hey, it's just like every day you just gotta dig deep and know like that small change, that small action that you take to betterment. It's not, you just can't give up.
You can't.
Because what's the risk if you don't do anything? You
Right.
will stay in that state that you don't want to be in, and that was what I wanted. I wasn't, when I was grieving and I was healing, I wasn't thinking grand.
Mhm.
I was just trying to survive and not be in this place one at a time.
Yeah.
Till a point I was healed enough, and it wasn't until last year around this time is when I finally saw what I think my purpose is.
Wow. This has been an outstanding interview with my friend Abigail Navarro McDowell. And I thank all of you for tuning in to Cam on this morning. And I'm not going to close out like I usually do. I'm going to ask my friend to look in that camera and have the last words on about what it means to be resilient.
Oh, that's a good one. So, resilience is knowing that just that small step to betterment each and every day will make a huge impact on your life. So don't give up, okay? Look, whatever it is, just take that step forward, and sometimes you'll go sideways, sometimes maybe go backwards, but invest that time in yourself, get the help, and all it takes is that small step in faith in yourself and in a higher power. I love you all. God bless.